What's up, everybody? Welcome to the channel. It's your first time being here, or if you're already subscribed. My name is Chris, and our guest today will be Andy. Or would you rather go by Andrew or Andy?
Andy's fine. Andy's fine.
Fine. Okay. Yeah. So we're really excited because the MCP they just edited the article and just released it like an hour before this meeting. So we're going to talk a lot about that today. But also, Andy, if you just want to give us a little bit of background, maybe on yourself, like how you found Veve, and maybe about your YouTube channel before we get
sure.
And I'm going to go ahead and share this on some social platforms.
No, brilliant. Well, hi everyone. My name is Andy, and I am also a Veve content creator, but I do dabble into other crypto stuff. I actually found out through Veve was Niall Ballantyne. I don't know if you know him as the other content creator. Niall's one of my closest friends, actually. And I've known him for many, many years now, since school. And he told me about it. He told me what it was. And in the beginning, I wasn't that impressed. I wasn't going directly into it and wanted to try it. But I got some of the drops. The Ultraman 2Ds was my first poster drop.
Oh, cool.
Managed to get one of those. And then a couple of weeks later, Niall kept telling me about what Veve are going to be working on and what they're going to be pushing forward with. I decided to do just some of my own research on my own, and I basically told Niall everything he's been telling me for the last week, and I got far too excited. And that was the end of it. That was literally the end of it. I was done, and I was hooked, and have been hooked since the beginning of April, and since I've got into this. But just as Chris does, I create Veve content and try to do other crypto stuff as I learn through the crypto world. And I've recently just made the YouTube channel about 3 months ago or so, after having another one and doing that for about a year and a half. So now we're here. We just got monetized today.
Heck yeah, man.
Just reached 1,500
awesome
subs as well. So it's been class.
Yeah, man. So you've been making Veve content for 3 months?
Yeah.
And how long have you had your other channel?
I had that and was uploading consistently for about a year and a half.
Okay, cool. Have you noticed that maybe your Veve channel is growing faster than your regular channel, or
it's already surpassed it?
Oh, really? I didn't even realize that.
It passed it about a week ago, and I'm not monetized on the other channel either.
Oh, wow!
So I created a weekly video that were a lot more challenging to do on the other channel for a year and a half, and didn't get anywhere close to what I've been getting with the support in regards to Veve and meeting these new people and like really connecting with the community members. In my other channel, I didn't really meet too many, had seen my YouTube and had watched the content and were really digging the content. But with Veve, when it comes to that, it's been a whole 180, which is amazing.
Yeah, it's a tight-knit community. Veve is. I mean, there's a lot of supporters out there, a lot of people wanting to learn information. And I mean, I know like last week you said you made like 3 videos in one day, right? Like you've been killing it with content.
I get too excited when Disney was coming, and I decided to make 4 videos in one day, and then I've been making a video every day consistently for the last maybe week and a half, and I've never done that before in regards to videos. So it just goes to show how excited I really am to share the knowledge that I'm getting and meeting new people in this space.
Absolutely, man. I mean, that's exciting. That's really awesome. And it's great to have you as part of the community. I like what somebody said the other day, like there's so much Veve content coming out in the near future that we literally don't have enough creators to create it. Like if that's not bullish, I don't know what is.
Honestly, I've never really seen an NFT project that has a community like Veve does. And I do think that's for a few reasons. And one of those is actually in relation to not being able to take out your gems. Like I fully do believe that because we've not been able to like cash out and people haven't been able to cash out instantly, most NFT projects, people are only looking for the profit and that's all they're doing. They've got nothing in regards to community and they don't care. But if you've got into Veve and you're actually into the app itself, you can't take out your gems. So you kind of have to be there. Else you can sell and you can keep the gems and that's perfectly fine. But most people I feel have dabbled in from one IP. They've came in, they've found the Veve community and then they're like, you know what? This is actually something I quite enjoy. I'll be a part of this now.
That's a great point. We're like, everybody's sort of forced to be in community together because it's not like we can just like buy in and dip. It's like, it's like your parents setting you up with friends when you were a kid. Like sending you to a certain school or something. It's like, well, here's who you got. Might as well make some friends along the way.
Exactly.
That's great, man. So your first drop was the Ultraman 2D set, you said?
Yes, first drop was that, and I think I got I got the rare, and I sold it for like 3x.
Yeah, and you're like, oh my goodness.
I was like, what the hell is going on here?
Games.
How is this possible? Sadly, we can't get all the drops anymore. I know from April to maybe about June, I was able to get 90% of the drops that came out, but now it's maybe 10% less.
Yeah, dude. I
5%
saw
at
you
some point.
me and you both got a comic today, and I mean that's becoming a
Yeah.
bigger deal to get 1 out of
Oh.
30,000 comic drops. Like I never thought I'd see the day.
No, me neither. When they first announced the 30,000 editions with the comic drops, I was like, this is great. I got like 8 at the start of the comic drops,
Yeah.
8 and 9 every single drop. I was like, oh my God, this is unreal. But at the time as well, I had no idea about comics in the physical world. I didn't know if they went for anything. I didn't know why people cared about them. Now I love collecting comics. And
Yeah.
even getting one, I'm so excited, even though it's always a common, and I got a common today again. It's still incredibly exciting to be able to get it.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw, my wife and I were able to go for the drop right next to each other today.
Oh,
And
that's awesome.
it was a lot of fun, just talking about it, like setting up, making sure our timers are aligned. She used a line gate, and then I just went for like the click one press.
Nice.
And then we were like bickering about the rebound afterwards. She's like, "Oh, I don't want to waste 10 minutes going for this rebound." I'm like, "You got to do it. Like that 10 minutes could get you a secret rare." And I don't know. It's just it's family fun. It's fun to go by yourself. The dopamine's there. And like we get to do this, constantly, multiple times a week. So it's kind of a blessing right now, and just trying to enjoy it, even in drops that we don't get. Like it sucks. You made a video on, bots and stuff, and that's an aspect as well. But also we just have so many users now that, I mean, you don't get every drop. I didn't get I didn't get a lot of decon drops, but I didn't get the monkey drop. I don't even remember the name of it. The monkey comic that came out. Yeah. Did you get that one?
The monkey comic? No,
yeah,
I
the
didn't
monkey
get that
comic
one either. No, did not get that. I didn't expect to get it either.
It does hurt a little bit not to get a comic, but when there's that little additions, like with probably 100,000 people going for drops now, like what can we expect?
I know exactly. And see, even with the 70,000 drop, I didn't get it. I was so lucky to get the rebound. But I didn't get the original drop. And I was, when I'd seen that it got an error, I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is game over. I'm never getting any drops again. But it does go to show how much it's grown in such a short space of time. I mean, we've already been confirmed that it was 170,000 new downloads onto Veve during the Disney week alone. If you're taking that and then you're taking 10,000 editions of a comic, you're already screwed when you're up against that 170,000, but you're taking all the other active users who are there as well, and you're multiplying that and lowering your percentage even further.
Yeah, absolutely. You want to get all your friends and family on board, and you're like, oh wait, this is more competition.
Stop going.
I know. I have some friends that I onboarded, and like they got drops I didn't, and I was like, oh. I know. It's a beautiful thing. We did have somebody in chat ask. They said, "Is this Sam Ellis or a completely different Veve YouTuber?" This is Andrew Ellis. He is a relatively newer Veve YouTuber. He's been doing it for about 3 months, and he's really active on Twitter. And this is his. He explained earlier, but this is actually his second YouTube account. Somebody else. What's up, Honage? Somebody just said, "What's up?" Somebody said took 29 drops for me to get a secret rare perseverance. Yeah, I mean, you have a 1 out. I look at it as like you have a 1 out of 50 chance to get a secret rare. So like people complain that they've never got them before, but like, have you got 50 comic drops yet? You know? And then if you get over 50 and you haven't got one, then okay, sucks for you.
That's hard. I've only ever got one, and it was very lucky to get it. It was the Amazing Spider-Man 1 secret rare.
Oh, that's a big one to get.
So I was very happy with that. But at the time when I got it, I actually didn't know like why it was good. I didn't really care that I'd got it. But now if I got a secret rare, holy crap, I'm flipping the table and everything. I'm so buzzing with that.
Right. I got the last one I got was the zombie Fantastic Four. I don't remember exactly what it was. It was the misprint, and I was really excited because like I thought that they were going to leave the misprint, and I knew it'd be worth more if it was a misprint, but they ended up fixing it. But that was my last one. Then I got the Carnage one as well, which I flipped from Miles Morales.
Nice.
But so yeah, we originally had a few things we were going to talk about with Immutable and MTL, would be great conversations, but the MCP article just updated. So we just decided that we're going to talk about that. So Andy and I can definitely go again on the Immutable or the MTL, maybe before all that rolls out, maybe even on your channel, Andy. But so for today, we're going to take a look at the MCP revision, which I think is awesome. And we'll kind of give further thoughts on that. But so they actually like Spark noted a part of it. I don't know if you guys saw to where you can like just see the updates. So, you know, if you're watching this video, hopefully you're familiar with the MCP article in general. If not, you can go read that on their blog. But we're going to be going over like specifically the revision notes that they gave, which is pretty big. So I guess we'll start off with the drop raffle. Andy, if you want, I can kind of just read it and then we can talk about it. Does that sound good with you?
Yep.
The MCP drop lottery is now the MCP drop raffle. Instead of bidding individual points, collectors will now purchase drop raffle tickets with their points. Drop raffle will win probability with increase with their number of raffle tickets purchased. Additionally, any collector who is not successfully in the drop raffle will have their points returned. So what's your thoughts on that?
I love it. I absolutely love that. I know a lot of people. I know Foster anyway was telling me that he didn't really like the losing all your points if you didn't manage to win. But my thought on that was, at the end of the day, it was called a lottery. So if you don't win the lottery and you spend money on it, you're not going to get money back just because you lost. So I kind of like that they've went on the route that because MCP points aren't actually real currency, they're just made up for Veve. I quite like it that you're going to get most of them returned for doing it, yet still getting a little bit of a hit. You know, if you put all your MCP points in, at least you're going to get 90% of those back, which is actually a lot. You know, I thought it might have been a bit smaller than that if they ever made this iteration, but what's your thoughts on it? What's your thoughts on the 90% front?
I completely agree. I think it's really cool because like I didn't love the idea if like you would have lost all of the points, you know, if you went in, because at the end of the day, like I still feel like that gives a little bit of advantage to whales. Because if you own, you know, all the collectibles and all the sets and you have the ton of points and it's a drop that is very desirable, then basically all the wealthy people in the app are probably going to get it. And all the people who didn't have as much collectibles or sets probably didn't have as strong of a chance, and then they would lose their chance for the next run, whereas the whales could accumulate faster. So I think it gives more fair to the average user, which is what I think Veve is all about. And I support that as well. Because again, I mean, the system to me, like with this update, just rewards the average user more.
Yeah. And one other thing as well to note with that is the thing with the drop raffle is it basically eliminates bots from the raffle, because you have to be sort of active or hold the collectibles from there. And from what I've seen anyway, when it comes to the stuff on bots, is that they'll only buy to sell. You know, they'll only get it in the drop to then sell afterwards. So the only people who are going to be able to go for this significantly are those who have held collectibles or continuing to hold collectibles for the long run with this, which I kind of like. Now, yes, of course, there might be some people who are using bots out there who are just collecting everything. But I think the majority, you're not going to buy a bot to then hold the collectibles. You're more so there just for the money. So I see that being an even smaller percentage than they already are within the raffle system.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great point. Let's take a look at the next one. Set points. Set points have been slightly reduced from a maximum of 6 points to 5 points, and as they gave too much advantage to those on collectibles and sets track compared with those just collecting comics, for example. I'll take this one first. This one kind of hurt a little bit because in the first MCP article, it's kind of funny because they ended it with, please don't make any rash decisions, you know, based on this article. So like, you know, me being me, I made a rash decision and I decided to buy like a 9 collectible set. And because I was like, man, you know, this, I don't remember how many exact collectibles, but it had a lot more than 6. And I was like, you know what? Like this is like this is like 8 or 9 extra points I get for having the set. I didn't realize there was a max. Well, now not only is there a max, they brought it from 6 points to 5 points. So I was like, dang it. But like at the end of the day, I didn't care too much because it was the Ultraman 2D set, and I already had the secret rare. So Bing's already had the secret rare because I got the error way back in March. I was like, well, this is going to be a cheaper, larger set for me to complete. Because I already had the secret rare, and the rest of the set probably would only cost like $200-300. So I went ahead and just completed it there. So that one did kind of hurt a little bit.
That definitely does. It's quite good though. I understand where they're coming from and why they done it. And again, lowering it by 1 point. I mean, it's not going to change too much, but having that Ultraman secret rare, definitely it was a good choice to make instead of maybe going for a full other Mermicon or the unicorn drops with like 9 or something. And buying all those because they shot up in price. as well.
They did. Do you think that the Marvel Mighties, the unicorns, and all that stuff, like with the larger sets, is probably going to drop after this?
I think they will for a little bit, but then go back up, because at the end of the day, you know, again, this is made up currency. It isn't, you know, you're not getting dollars for this. So it's just the currency of the game. And yes, I think people who were solely buying these based off of the MCP, yes, they're might going to be a little bit hurt. But for me personally, if I'm someone who's collecting and wants MCP points, if I've bought them all, I'm not going to sell them now for cheaper just because they've changed the points by 1. You know, I'm just going to keep them from now, and it'll probably go up in 2 or 3 months' time. So I think some people will make those rash decisions like you've done at the start, but the majority, I would assume, or hope anyway, would keep them, because there's no point in selling for a loss.
Well, I actually did. I guess I just like didn't read right, but I actually didn't realize that the cap was 6 last time. I thought it was just however many collectibles were in a set. So for me, it's really not a big deal that it's dropping down from 6 to 5.
Yeah.
That's 1 less point I get per day on like my Ultraman set, and I guess on any other sets I have over that.
Yeah.
But like you said, like this is made up currency. I think some people you know, highlight it too much, like as if this is like they're getting dollars every day, and it's like it's like crucially important. But also I think some people overlook the value in it. Like I know Foster doesn't even really care for the MCP points. Foster's been on my channel, we're friends, we talk often, by the way. But I disagree with him, you know, on like how little he cares, because like I do think they're really cool. Like I think being able to buy a accessories with these points is really cool. I think the being able to strategize with this lottery system that they have is really cool. You know, like I think over time these points will be important for those who are like on the app long term and fun, but they're also like not make or break at the end of the day. It's just another way to gamify Veve.
Exactly, and that's what the aim of it is. You know, they've even said themselves, like the drops aren't going to be what everything of Veve is. Drops are just going to be one area of what Veve is. And I actually really loved the prospect of the Master Collector program. I'm a big fan of that sort of stuff, you know, where you're able to work your way up and rewarding people for actually using the app. And as you said, you know, it's retention, it's gamifying it. And that's one of the most important aspects of this. You don't want someone to come onto your app or come onto the web app whenever that's made and leave after a minute. You want them to have something to do, to have something to work towards. That's why people are so addicted to Fortnite, to Apex, to Rocket League, because you get up ranks for the stuff that you're doing. And I know for a fact in the future, the Master Collector program is going to be so much more than it is with just this. And especially for the drop raffle system, think of how mental people are going to go when something like Darth Vader comes in and you can use your drop raffle points. Like I'll spend all my points to try and go for that. You know, it's something that's going to make me really excited to have the chance of basically being whitelisted for this drop, and can just sit back and relax while everyone goes for it. And you're just like, yeah, you know, I want it in the drop raffle system after using that app. Then that boosts you even further to say, well, I got Darth Vader for basically free with going for this by only spending time in the app. I'm going to do that again, because if I want something like Pokemon when it drops, then I need these points for this. And I really like that.
Absolutely. Great point with like Fortnite analogies. So like I'm a big gamer. I actually had a gaming channel before my YouTube channel.
Love it.
And pretty much all games that give you that lure of daily points, which is becoming more and more consistent. Like I remember Clash Royale had something where they rewarded you, like if you got on daily, you know, on the phone. Animal Crossing, you kind of like have to like, you know, do something daily. There's a lot of games out there, and even when I got tired of those games, like when I played them just like so much, I would still like log on once a day to like do those like petty little tasks, you know, like I gotta get to my objective or my goal by doing these petty little tasks. Well, so you're doing the same thing on Veve now, besides just like buying and holding. Like there are going to be like a list of petty little tasks that you need to do on the app. Which is going to help the app overall, because like there's going to be a lot more activity on it. People will then likely be more addicted to it. And at the end of the day, doing all of that and following the MCP program, like you said, like will give, like it's almost like passive income, but obviously like this isn't like actually income, but you're still able to, you know, buy accessories with it. You're still able to almost guarantee that Darth Vader, you know, like for whoever competes with you. So like in a way, it is income, but these points obviously don't have like a price tag on them. It's not like you can sell these points for $1 or something like that. But
Yeah.
you know, in a way, if Veve was the ecosystem, then this is almost a part of the finances in their ecosystem. But of course, if we labeled it like that, it would be a security violation, at least in my country. But like at the end of the day, it kind of is a really cool thing. And so I don't know. I just a little rant about the points themselves.
No, I really like that. And also, just as like a business perspective, I might be completely wrong here, but if we're looking at partnerships and who they've obviously got, they've got some of the biggest brands in the world, and retention on the app surely is important to some of these brands. You know, by being able to show that the average user and the average consumer spends X amount of time, they're more likely to find other brands that are a part of it and more likely to find what these brands actually hold. So if they're able to increase retention through this point system, through people doing daily active tasks like the petty ones, they're going to be able to show, hey, this is what the average consumer actually spends the time on. This is where they are. This is why you need to continue this brand partnership with us, because we can bring you in this amount of users, X money, and all that sort of stuff. I don't know if that's even a thing that companies would look at, but it seems like it could be viable.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. I mean, I have never, other than like GoldenEye on N64. I don't know if I'm showing my age there. Or like a couple of 007 movies throughout the years. I've never really been a 007 fan, James Bond fan. But I remember before the tickets came out, me and this other guy, propagandist on Twitter, a lot of people know him. We had a conspiracy that if we commented and liked every single James Bond poster, then we would have an advantage on getting the tickets. This was before like we actually knew that before we knew that there was only 7. And then on top of that, before we knew like anything about it. So me and him were like liking them, reading them, like discussing them and stuff like that. But like I learned so much about James Bond because I was interacting, because I thought there was a chance for me to get some kind of benefit in the app. Dude, I had it down to the math. I was like, there is less than 7 people that have liked and commented every single poster. I went through all the comments, all the likes.
Wow.
I was like, if this goes out to the best spy, me and propagandists are going to be one of 7 that did all these like stupid little things to figure it out. But in the process, I learned a lot about James Bond and like I interacted with it. So like all that to say, like when there is going to be interaction with these like certain collectibles, certain comics and stuff like that, it does give brand more awareness. And then ultimately at the end of the day, like you said, you didn't even like comics before Veve. Now you're kind of liking comics more. And I'm willing to bet that if you're in a comic store and you find a cheap comic, you would probably be more likely to buy it after Veve than before Veve, because like you have a little bit of familiarity with it. So
100%.
I definitely think they're doing well with the brands, like you said, on giving a reward for in-app activity.
Yeah. I see there's a question there from Brendan that you've put on the screen.
Yeah, he said, Chris and Andy, I had opportunity to buy number 69 or number 70, where 70s correlates to the artist's birthday, and both mints were the same price. I scooped 69 because I'm a DJ. Good move. That's funny.
I'd honestly say that's the better move, because people pay ridiculous amounts for the number 69. I've seen it on OpenSea, and I'm sure it's on Veve as well. Now, the only person I would see really buying the artist's birthday were the artist themselves, or someone who really loves the artist, whereas the 69 is sort of worldwide known for the yes, we know why. I think that's a good move, mate.
Yeah, I think meme over like actual whatever, like most cases.
It works.
Like obviously, like it was like, I don't remember the year, but like the Marvel #1, like the year that it was released, getting that mint is like golden. But like on a random collectible or a comic, I would definitely say like the number 69. I think that's pretty funny.
Yeah, the meme ones will work.
I had my friend just got into Veve last like maybe 2 weeks ago, and he scored number 69, the Ghost Bunny. I think that's what it was. Ghost Bear at the decon drop, and I thought that was really cool.
How many decon drops did you get?
What's that?
How many decon drops did you get?
I didn't get a lot at all. I got the rare supernova poster.
Oh, nice.
And I got a common bunny. that was it. I got like 2 out of maybe like 8 or something like that.
That's what I got as well. No, it was more than that. It was like 16, 15.
Yeah. Don't remind me. And I didn't get any like I'm convinced like with those low mint drops, I can't get the non-blind box drops because I don't know if it's like the way bots are designed, they just click faster. But like I get more blind box drops than I do.
So did I. That was the exact same for me, and I'd actually like to know. I don't know if it's ever been confirmed or if this is the case because I don't know the background of how they work. But someone did mention that it could potentially be first click, first serve. But obviously there comes in different factors when you think of like ping and then you think of like your connection and all that sort of stuff. So it would be interesting to see how they actually do it and how it is given to someone. Because I found more luck in the blind boxes than I ever did when it comes to the like if you do a line gate or anything like that on the normal ones.
Yeah, I don't know if it's I don't know why it's easier. It just is easier. And I mean, I definitely don't think it's first click, first serve. Like you said, like I think ping is king at the end of the day. Like that's your number one. And then, processing speed, method. I actually went ahead today and just did the regular click on the comic opposed to the line gate, and I got it. And I've been missing regular comic drops. I don't know why, or like how that was faster, but I know a line gate like sort of messes with your processing speed. Because you are doing an action on your phone, like Hello K pointed that out. So like your phone is almost distracted with an action to where like it uses up a little bit of processing speed. But if you have like, a brand new iPhone or a high processing iPad, I don't know how much that actually matters. But maybe kind of work off of a lower speed phone, then the line gate is actually slowing it down.
Interesting. No, that's a good point, actually. I've actually found when I've done the line gate as well, when you press the buy now button, once you can, if you spam it, it actually doesn't like go through until you stop. So you could press the buy now button when it's available 3 times, but it only goes through the 3rd time and it starts to go through. So potentially there could be a thing where it is, it's trying to work on the last one that you've done. And because obviously the drop's opened at that time, it's waiting until you've stopped pressing it so that they can actually process if you've got it or not. So I'm going to test that a little bit further to see if it's the case.
Yeah.
Because maybe the one tap is better. And if you can learn that through the tapgate.io that had been made, which is incredible.
See, the tapgate.io almost convinced me of a line gate because when they first dropped it, I was doing it often, and a line gate would be so much faster. I mean, like significantly faster.
Wow.
But I don't think they're able to factor in the amount of users that Veve has at the time. That kind of makes it a little bit weird. I don't know. It's still a little bit different. So like that tapgate.io is good for timing, just regular. But I don't think it's a good comparison for a line gate versus timing because it's just not the same thing. Because like a line gate is a little bit different in Veve because you have like a little bit of lag. If you long press on a line gate, it doesn't work. If you press too much, it doesn't work. There's just so many different like variables for that, But let's move on to the next few things because we're about to run into some big stuff. And also everybody, welcome to the chat. Thank you all who are watching. This is Andy. He has his own YouTube. You'll be able to rewatch and find it, and I'll link it down below in the comments. JT said, "Yo, what's up, JT? Welcome to the stream." And let's go. We were at set points, so now we're on collectible points, secret rares. This is big. We recognize the value and effort required to obtain collectible secret rares, which are non-comic, unless you are lucky enough to score one on drop. As such, points for collectible secret rares has been increased from 0.5 to 5 points.
Wow. That's a big increase. So I know, as we'd spoken about just prior, there's some people who are not too happy with it. If I go to Cvers' Twitter, he said, giving in to people crying about the secret rare was one of the dumbest decisions they've made. The fact is, most people will never be able to afford a secret rare, and they've just made all non-wealthy users feel like they're not holding something valuable, and non-wealthy will make up 95% of the app. So I think that's interesting because, of course, comics are all within the drops, and it's all by chance that we're getting this. So I understand where he comes from in the point of people being able to afford it on the secondary market, but it did seem that 0.5 points were just too low for a secret rare comic that was maybe 1 in 50, 1 in 60 chance of getting. What's your thoughts on that front?
Well, so this one specifically is just collectibles, right? Not comics. But we do see later that
Oh yeah.
that comics do have an increase.
Mhm.
Yeah, 0.5 for secret rares is just too low. I mean, like at the end of the day, like I get where Cvers is coming from, but you should still be rewarded for good flips, like or extreme luck. I mean, some people worked really hard to get the secret rare. They might have sold their did really so good common and uncommon and ultra rare flips, and finally they're able to purchase a secret rare. So like there are like working class people that was able to get a secret rare that they risked everything for. So like I think the counter argument to that would be like, yes, wells are rewarded because like rich people are able just to buy all the secret rares that they want. But what about those working class that did get a secret rare and that like now they aren't being rewarded for it? Like I do think, you know, there's those as well. I mean, like I'm gonna be real. I have one secret rare collectible that I can think of off the top of my head. You know, like that's all I have. So like it's nice that that one secret rare collectible is now worth 5 points a day. I mean, that helps me out. So I don't know. I think it's cool. You know, like also going back to our conversation earlier, like these points are valuable, but like Veve doesn't owe us a certain point program. Like the, you know, like this isn't a DAO. Like this is a centralized platform with specific leaders that are good and developers that are good and that are interactive. So like they don't owe us this. This is just another way to gamify the system, and I appreciate it. And I think obviously like yes, our money's in it. So like in a way, like we have a say for the future of it. But like I do think sometimes we got to roll with the punches. But in this case, I don't think this is one of the punches. Like I'm excited about the difference.
So I'm really, really excited. And that's the thing, as you mentioned before, you know, some people flip their way up to getting secret rares and spent a lot of time. I originally started with 300 gems, and that's all I had. And I spent time on the app. I traded my way up, and now I've managed to be at a place where I've got a Todd, I've got a Superman, you know, I've got all the Disney drops bar the Avengers logo. So I didn't start, like I'm just a normal person. I didn't have whale money to get any of this, but I spent time on the app and learning how to be better on the app to get that. So by me being rewarded for that through, as you said, something that they don't need to reward us for, I'm really happy. And I understand like the world's not fair, right? Let's be completely brutally honest here. The world is not fair. The rich often do get richer because they know how to use their money. And what I've found coming onto OpenSea and coming into NFTs like this early in the world of things, I've found that as you gain more money, you are able to make better moves that make you even more money by doing so. All these rich people have done is been duplicating that consistently. And there's definitely some who came into the wealth. I know that for a fact, where they're born into wealth, and that's fine. But the people who have built their way up didn't start with much, you know, and they did start duplicating their money by flipping their way, by making a business and then understanding how money worked and then being able to duplicate that over time. So for me, you know, I get it. I understand that some people are going to be upset that whales are going to get the most points, but they're rich for a reason. You know, they've got that money.
I definitely agree with you. And I also think it's important to remember that besides season 1, when some wealthy people were able to like significantly buy the market, somebody just said, "Sup, Chris and Andy, let's go. Hey, welcome to the channel, Death Bunny." But besides season 1, where whales were able to take advantage of that, whales aren't able to mint all of the collectibles and like in comics. Like that's important to remember. So like on OpenSea or Immutable, when you mint something, a lot of time there are caps, but sometimes you can mint 10 to 20 to 50. Sometimes there is no cap. So you have whales minting this project that costs 0.5 ETH, which would be around like a couple of $1,000s. And they're able to mint 10 to 20 of them. Okay. So now a whale exists on that. That can't happen on Veve. You know how whales become whales on Veve right now? They buy the floors. So whose fault is it that they buy the floors? It's your fault. It's the retail investors' fault. It's the working class's fault right now if you're complaining about whales right now. Simply the way Veve exists right now, besides the beginning where everything existed, because there's people that bought 50, 100 Rizzos, more than that, because it existed and they got there early. But for these drops right now, the only way whales can be whales is if they buy the floor. Keep that in mind when listing your collectibles. I'm not saying not to sell anything like comics or collectibles or anything like that, but I don't think there needs to be as much whale complaining. when it's simply just not easy to be a whale in Veve as it would be like as far as other projects.
Yeah.
Also, I had a good conversation with somebody the other day, but like at the end of the day, like also whales don't need to sell their collectibles to continue getting gems, to continue to participate in drops. That's important to remember. So a lot of times, like whales, it's easier to buy and hold a significant amount of them than it would be to buy them and try to like unload them off.
Yeah.
When we see things like the gem squeeze that just happened, what that shows me is the average investor in Veve is probably a retail investor and probably the working class, because you do see the floors get a little bit more fragile when things come up. Whales don't panic. They don't need to. Retail investors do, because for the average person, it does, like a couple $100 here and there, a couple $1,000s here and there, like does matter. Matters to me, and I might have to sell for liquid. So I don't know. There's a little rant about whales. Just as far as like getting rewarded on Veve, I can't stress enough that like whales exist on Veve right now because they're buying that. The only way to be a whale on Veve is to buy all the floors.
Yeah. And I think that's a good conversation to have. I think it's one that people need to understand, that they don't exist for no reason. They're there for a reason. And I thought that was a great point that you made when it came to how many they can mint. Most projects, if they do have 10 or 20 that they can mint in the one go, I'm always very wary of that project, because if someone has a lot of money, they can easily do that contract more than once. So they do their first contract, they put the gas miles higher, so they definitely get it, and then they come back in. And when you average out the price that they're getting it for, the gas works because they're only paying once for the gas for these 10, whereas the majority can only do one, and then they're outpriced by the gas. So Veve doing it this way, in which I honestly believe they're probably in the future going to do one per device. I think that's a fantastic way to actually reward as many people as you possibly can when it comes to this. And I really, really like the way that you explained that. I thought that was a really fantastic way of doing so.
Awesome, man. I appreciate it. Let's move on to the next one. We love you, Cvers. We're not talking trash. We healthy debate. Let's see. Set points, secret rare points. Okay, this is cool. So collectible points, low mint bonus. The low mint collectible bonus has been updated from sub 150 to sub 300.
Oh, you go for this. What do you think?
I love it. I literally saw somebody, I think Brendan, in the chat. I don't remember who it was. Is it Brendan? He said this really early on. I'm looking for it. He said he didn't like it. I do like it, and I understand why people wouldn't like it. But talking about whales earlier, I guess we'll just bring that back on. Whales were able to scoop up, everything sub 150. So like if they're like, if the finances allowed, because like, I mean, those are usually priced pretty highly. So I think this gives more opportunity again for the average person to be able to get extra points. Because a lot of those 150s were already hoarded, for lack of better words. So I don't even know if I have anything sub 300. I do look for low mints, but I'm not paying like thousands and thousands of dollars extra for that low mint. Even though I've been tempted a few times. Again, I think my lowest mints are in the 300s, but they're not under 300.
Right. Okay.
But this gives us essentially double the opportunity to get extra points opposed to 150.
Yeah.
I like it.
No, that's true. It's a good point. I am a little bit different to you in the sense of collecting like the sub 150s. I have collected some of the sub 150s just because I really like seeing the number being that low. I know that if I hold it for 5 years, that number will be way more valuable than just the base floor. The one that I'm still absolutely shocked to this day that I got was a 55 mint of the Ghost Trap.
Oh, wow.
Back then, it was first come, first serve, if I'm not wrong. So to get these like really, really low drops in the low mint, I was in so much shock that I was able to get this. And I have still held it to this day. Actually, I'm trying to sell it at the moment, but I'm still unsure if to keep it or not, because having that low of a mint, I don't think I'll be able to afford that for many things when it comes to the low of lows. For any drop.
That's awesome, dude. Number 55. And yeah, you're right. It was based on how fast, like pretty much if you got number 55, that means you were one of the first people.
Yeah.
To actually get the collectible.
I still don't know how I got it, but
that's great to say.
So I'm quite happy. I'm quite happy as well that they've done 300. As you said, most of the sub 150s, if you don't manage to get it in the drop, you're going to have to pay. I would say, especially when you get to sub 100, you're going to be paying about 10x of the floor plus. So 300 really brings it down a good bit. You're maybe paying 2x of the floor with a sub 300, which is good. So if that's something that you are interested in, not only within collectible field, but just in general, in getting more points, then the 300 gives more people an opportunity, which I like.
Yeah. I wonder, playing devil's advocate, why I would see people would be upset at this is, do you think it's going to, in a way, like devalue sub 150 a little bit?
That is a thought that I'd had. And one of the things that we could potentially suggest to Veve is that the sub 150 gets a different bonus than the sub 300, but they both still get a bonus. Because it allows the 150 to be the most valuable, like the secret rare and the comics and the collectibles, and the 300 to still get a bonus, but not really being on the same as a sub 150, because 150 is still quite a big difference, in terms of how many can get a bonus. I think that could be something to look at. Probably not something that needs changing, as it really is only just a bonus, but definitely be something to pay attention to.
Just an interesting thought. I've looked a lot at sub 150s since the last article, but like I said, I'm not gonna make anything rash decision off the article alone when it's a rough draft, but also like a full rash decision. But also like it's just not worth. I don't have the money to spend a couple thousand extra for a little bit of extra of MCP points.
No, I get that.
Or a little bit of flex. Now, if I got one on drop, I would definitely treasure that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Let's see. We got, chat asked a few questions too. Let me see.
Yeah, no problem.
Somebody said, I want to be a whale one day. I already got the stomach and ass for it. That's funny. This is an interesting question. I won't harp on this for very long because we're going through the article. Yeah. Somebody said, how are you guys keeping track of flips for tax purposes? Are the Veve collectibles eligible for long-term capital gains? I can't fully answer this question for the last part because I don't know, and everything in the NFT world is kind of like iffy right now. I know I am in the US and they're talking about this would be like ideal because like basically the US doesn't know how to keep track of they do, but like they're kind of still trying to figure out a system to like keep track of crypto and NFTs for tax purposes. Yeah. And what they've kind of came to conclusion with on their last proposal, what from my understanding, and this isn't definite yet, that like basically anytime your money leaves an account, instead of like trying to keep up with every individual transaction, that they're going to keep up. And again, like I'm not definite on this. I'm going to figure this out as we get closer to tax season. Yeah. That basically they'll compare the money that goes back into the account with the money that went into the account. So if I spent, if I spent $100 on gems and then I come back out with 1,000, I'm not saying they won't keep track of every individual transaction because that's how they have always done it. But it looked like the new proposal was just to take that gain difference of 100 and 1,000. I hope that that's the new system because that'd be a lot easier. Instead of saying, well, you sold this, you had 100 transactions, so we're going to tax you on every individual transaction, which is how they've done it in the past. I'm hoping, I don't want to speak too much on that because I don't want to be wrong. But Andre Jick actually just released a video on it, I think like a couple days ago, on the new tax proposal for the US, and it's an interesting watch.
Oh, interesting. I like that. Obviously, I'm from the UK, so it's different here. We don't actually have long-term capital gains. We just have capital gains tax. So we have a threshold that we can earn to £12,300 before we have to pay 20% to, I think it's once you get to like 50,000 and something, then it goes to 40%. So for me personally, they have it for cryptocurrencies and NFTs. They haven't really figured out laws surrounding them. So they've just put it under capital gains tax at the moment. I'm definitely keeping track of all of my purchases and sales because I know I'll need it for next year. This year, I won't need it as I didn't start until April and our tax season ends in that place. So That'll be fine for me this year, but next year I'll definitely have to hire an expert and help me on that.
Well, you can also, I'm sure you guys know this, but like you can also go to the app and go to transactions and view all your transactions. So if you want to do it that way, like sure, if you're trading, if you're flipping 10 a day, that's a lot to keep up with. But if you're like, man, I don't remember what I sold last week, you can actually go look at your own transaction history to say, oh, you spent 45 gems on that, or you made, you put this much in the app. So there is a way to pull up your log and you can just like log it like that if you do want to keep track of every transaction. All right. Let's see what we got next. We went over collectible secret rares, low mints, comics daily. We acknowledge the MCP version 1. I like how they did version 0.1 instead of like 1.0.
I like it.
Yeah, I'm assuming they did that like as like a little like comedy for like it this not being like a permanent draft. Let's see. Sorry, Investing Sensei said, I'm in the US as well. I would figure without individual transactions, then there could be flaws. I agree, but we'll see where we get there. The comic points were not balanced as the key could have been for collectors who focus on collecting comics. As such, the comics have been revised. For example, collectors will now get 0.25 points for a common and up to 6 points for a secret rare comic. What do you think do you think there's a reason it says up to 6 points? Like will certain secret rare comics be worth more than other secret rare comics?
It seems like it might be. It seems like maybe the 10,000 ones will be 6 and then the others will be lower.
Oh, smart. Okay, I see.
Up to that, it just doesn't seem like it would be. They wouldn't be equal because there's only 250 of those, isn't there? And then there's maybe like 600 of the other ones. If I'm not mistaken, that means you'd no longer get 1 point per collectible. Am I right in saying that? Per comic? Because in the past, I done a video on like the MCP strategy that I was going to use, and it was basically going to be buying 2 sets of all the commons for a series when you got the bonus of like 5 points for having the whole series. But you used to get 1 point per comic.
You're right.
So now I'm guessing that's gone. So it's 0.25 points per common.
So they cut it in fourth. Now you get 1/4 the value of a common, right?
Yeah.
Sucks for those people that stack commons.
I know. I didn't do it yet. I didn't make rash decisions, so I'm happy. But
now
with a little bit of a killer.
They did say that, the more you stack, the less you get, next comic. So like just because you bought 100 comics doesn't mean you're going to get 100 points. Like it meant you're going to get.
Yeah, it always. What I'd found was it was 2 sets of the ones that got the bonus that would work the best. That's where you get the most for your money. But now with 0.25 for a common, if you have like all this Amazing Spider-Man, I think there's maybe 4 at the moment. So you're only getting 1 for all 4 of them, which is interesting. I'm going to be curious to see if you still get the bonus for having all the commons.
Yeah.
That'll be curious to see.
That's a good find. So basically what they did was they went down on the commons, but up on the rest. So so now you're getting up to 6 points for a secret rare. So I don't know. And I also think this might boost the secret rare value. I do agree with Foster in a sense. It is silly that the market like swings with this.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I agree with Foster on that. And I disagree with him on the value of the value of the MCP points.
As we said, most people are going to be just the average investor. And especially from being on OpenSea for a while and Veve as well, you can tell a lot of people panic. Most people panic. I don't really know why, because they often lose a lot of money by panicking. But if you can learn to be more logical rather than using your emotions in this game, you're going to make a lot more money by just breathing rather than absolutely panicking when everyone else panics. Especially if you're convicted and where this is going to go. That's what's made me so calm when things go the wrong way. Obviously, when Marvel got announced and the Medium article dropped, and when Disney got announced and the Medium article dropped, the market dropped from 10 to 40%, depending on what collectible you had. A lot of people then continued to panic. So it probably started at 10% and then more people panicked, which led to the 40%. If you just bought up then, instead of selling everything, you'd now be in an absolute crap ton of profit just purely because you decided to breathe rather than follow the crowd, which the crowd, in all honesty, aren't going to be the people you want to follow. You want to follow the people who don't panic when everyone else panics.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I always tweet out like little hints of like swimming against the current.
Yeah.
Or looking the other direction. because like I'm a firm believer in that, of like keeping my nerves calm and collected. And
Definitely.
you know, almost to a fault sometimes, like I will really intentionally go against the current. For instance, I sold an Elsa yesterday. I know you and Cvers like love Elsa.
Yeah.
Or 2 days ago. Because I was just like, you know, like obviously I believe in the long term of this project. And I went on Kyle Wilson's channel and really explained why I sold an Elsa. But I was like, I'm gonna take my 1200 right now and use those gems for other things.
Love
Right
it.
now, everyone's focus is on Disney, the Disney Golden Moments, and
Yep.
like I do think the Disney Golden Moments are going to be worth great value one day. But for right now, I'm gonna make different moves with that 1200 gems that I got.
Yep.
You know, and you know that's just, again, maybe that's to a fault. You know, Elsa could be 2K floor next week, and it's like, oh, that sucks. But as of right now, I would like to use that 1200 gems for something else. And
Yeah. No,
you know,
and
everybody has their own strategies.
exactly. That's the difference. You know, you have a strategy. So for me, I know Elsa's shot up and all of the Disney have shot up because everyone's focused on them. So there's got to be some form of retraction at some point. I see it anyway happening, that it's usually following the same patterns. Might not, but that's what I've often seen watching the marketplace. So if you sell it now, you make incredible profits from what you'd bought it at a week ago. And then if you also have your strategy to find, okay, most people aren't really looking at this area right now, but they will be. And then that comes around, you could probably double and triple the money that you would have got from Elsa alone, especially when you stick to your strategy. And I think that's the most important part. I've no problem with anyone ever selling, but when their decision to sell is just because they want to sell, when they're still keeping their gems in, you know, you could have just held and you would have this amazing collectible. Whereas when you've got that plan and you know something, you know, if you think like the common comics are going to go up, which they did, and then you look at maybe some of the interoperability ones that are potentially going to be looking to go outsourcing, maybe people will increase those. So it's when everyone else is not looking at certain areas, that's when you can really make the profits.
Absolutely. I mean, like, I like, again, quoting Foster a lot, but Foster said like the other day on stream, like, you know, what's the upside to this? And like that's how I think too. You know, like take an Elsa. In my head, the upside to Elsa in the next few months, you know, I don't like to make price predictions, but like let's say 2,000, or you know, let's say it goes up to 2,000 for whatever reason. Well, like sure, part of me is like, man, I sold for 1,200, like, you know, I could have made $800 more or 800 more gems, but what if somebody would have paper handed this solid comic today, the solid secret rare comic that the physical copy sells for $500,000? You know, what if somebody sold that for 1,000? They didn't. Actually, the floor has been pretty good on it. But like if they paper handed that at 1K or dropped below 1K, and I picked that up, and then, you know, at the same time, Elsa's worth 2,000. Now the secret rare comic that I picked up that I got for even cheaper than I sold my Elsa is going to be worth 3,000, you know, around the same time. You know, like it's those type of moves that are like, you do got to be thinking about, like, just because I sell something doesn't mean I think the value isn't there. It's just because like I could do more of the liquid. And it goes back to our conversation earlier. Whales don't have to worry about that. Whales have the money to buy everything. like so of course, like Ray Fixie's going to go online. And nothing wrong with Ray Fixie. He's just the first whale I think of. And it's like, yeah, I'm holding all my golden moments. He doesn't have to sell. He's not like me. I can't just pull a couple $1,000s out of my account right now and just be like, yeah, I'm going to go for this, you know, secret rare on the flip or whatever, you know? So like, you do got to think differently and almost think for yourself, or thinking that like the communities around you, like for some of these moves.
Exactly. And that's, Niall and I talk about this all the time, the opportunity cost, you know, what you're going to be making through selling and then purchasing. And for me personally, I've had 2 Todds, right, for 4 months now. I sold one of those Todds to get a Walt when Walt was at 2.1K. That's what I bought my Walt at.
Solid.
And obviously now he's at what, 10.5K or something around there. So yes, I let go of a Todd, which I really, really loved, but the opportunity cost there in order to make that profit that I could make with Walt, it's night and day now.
Solid move.
It's the best thing I could have done. Now I do want to get another Todd back, but for the time being, that was the best move I could have made. And because I had that plan, as we were talking about, and I knew what I needed to do, then I wasn't worried that I was selling the Todd, because I knew that this was going to be worth my while.
Yeah, absolutely. That's great. I think I told you guys this, but I was so sick on the day that Walt was released. I literally could not look at my phone without like having to run to the bathroom and vomit. I had like had horrible fever. Like it was so bad. So like that whole day I couldn't make any moves. I like was able to go for the drop and I missed it. And like after that, I was like, I can't. Like I like every time I like try to like focus on market or try to make some moves, I'm like, I'm too sick for this.
Yeah.
So yeah, life came up and I was just unanticipated for that. So sucks I didn't get Walt, but you know, move on. On to the next one. We see that there's going to be a comic low mint bonus. So comic low mint bonuses plus 0.5 earned for 5% lowest mint comics available to the public. Excludes any comics allocated to Veve. Okay. So this is pretty cool. The reason that this is cool is because the higher edition comics, you have a higher chance to fall into this category. So like say you have that 60,000 comic drop from Tuesday or whatever day. Yeah, I think it was Tuesday. So you're in the top 5% if you're holding, I'm not going to do the math in my head right now, but say like the top 3,000. Yeah, like around 3,000, 4,000 comics, you're in the top 5%. Whereas on a like 10,000 edition comic, you're going to have to be you have to get one of those like really low mint numbers in order to be in the top 5%. So I think this is cool because it gives a little bit more credibility to holding a certain cutoff of comics at larger editions. What are your thoughts on it?
I really like that. As you said, was it 60,000 drops? On the biggest one we've ever had with that. So yeah, 3,000 is like a decent number to get an extra few points on, which I love that. I've got a few under the 5% threshold, as I do quite like that. I remember I made a video on why the lowest edition comics are basically the highest grading physical comics. And because that's the only way we can compare them, like a 9.8 grading is going to be the top 2% of the comics. So I quite like that they've done this and actually rewarded it in that sense to show that, yeah, these are more valuable. And it also just brings a better incentive. My only hope is in the future, they create a marketplace where you can actually search for a range of mints. I used to go for the comic books under like 2,000 and try to like mass buy them up. But once I'd scrolled down and got to the 2,000th mint, oh my God, mate, my phone was nearly blown up with how hot it was. And the amount of time it took me to buy one honestly took me about a minute and a half just to buy it because it lagged so much. So my hope is with this, and as they progress the marketplace, they will allow you to search for a specific range, because the way that the market does run right now, especially when you get to that 70th, 80th page scrolling down, it's just not good enough right now.
Yeah,
but I do like the way that they've done this. I think it's a good addition and something that I hope they do work on further.
That's a good suggestion too for Veve to be able to filter, like you said, 1 to 2,000 comics. That way you're not going from lowest to highest and having to scroll down, let it load, scroll down, let it load, let it load. Like that's a really good suggestion.
It's not fun. It's really not fun. I don't recommend it to anyone, but if you're wanting those low mints on a decent deal, there's not going to be many people competing with you because everyone will get bored by the 70th page. So keep going. You'll get those decent low mints for a decent price. You might get 1 in 10, but it's worth it. Honestly, it's worth it.
I have a decent amount. So I'm trying to think of the math right now. Like, what would the top 5% of 30,000 be?
1,500. Round about that anyway.
What's that?
1,500.
Okay. Yeah, so I have a decent amount.
Not bad.
Yeah, not bad at all.
It's a decent number. It might be a bit above that because obviously they keep some, but
I think I have a Marvel #1 common in that range. Maybe its value will get increased a little bit.
I do as well. I bought a 774 of the common for 270 gems. It was actually Veve Viral on Twitter who had put up a tweet saying, like, listen, this is so undervalued. The secret air is going to fly if you've got the gems to go and get a common under like the top 2%, because this is back to like the 9.8 grading, but the top 2% of mints, go get one. I got it for like 270 gems at the time. So,
yeah.
So buzzing with that.
That's awesome. Man, good times being able to get those for cheaper.
Oh, definitely. We're never getting that again.
I know. I got like 6 of the Marvel #1 on drop, but I think no, I got an ultra rare,
nice,
an uncommon, and a common. No, I got a rare. a common
Did
and
you sell
uncommon.
it?
Then I bought a few. Yeah, I sold it at some point so I could buy a 3-digit mint. What is the name of the Batman? The first female artist on Veve.
Becky Cloonan?
Becky Cloonan Batman. I don't know why that name slipped me, but yeah, I sold it to buy that.
Nice.
And they're like, I think the prices are around the same. I think my Becky Cloonan's actually worth more than the rare comic, so I didn't feel bad about it. But it was funny because like right when I made that move to sell that comic for Becky Cloonan, the comics like boomed and Becky Cloonan dropped, and I was like, oh, like I was out like 400 gems. And then like a week later, they balanced out. And I think now, again, I think my 3-digit Becky is worth well over the rare floor. So, I mean, it ended up being a good move now. But at the time, I was like, oh, dang it.
Hard hitter, as I feel that.
I got so much flack for that on Twitter too. Because like that, again, I'm like one of those either flippers or investors that goes against the current. So if I see a lot of focus on one area, I typically take advantage of that area or go to another area.
Yeah.
Not saying be that way, because again going back to that tax thing earlier, like if all these individual transactions are taxed, they probably will be, like that might come back to bite me at the end of the year. But also I've made some good moves with it as well, so we'll see.
you got season 1, by the way? Have you got Black and White season 1?
I don't have a Rizzo.
Yeah, neither do I.
Yeah,
it's the only one I need.
Yeah, it's the only one I need. And I was hoping during the gem squeeze that Rizzo would drop below 2K. Or I didn't really have an exact price prediction, but like I was hoping that it would squeeze a little bit more. But as you saw, like Rizzo really, I don't even know if it got below 3K. And I was just like, I
honestly don't think it got below 5.
It didn't budge very much. So I don't know. I don't know if Rizzo will ever be in my future at this point. So it's a little discouraging, but you know, it is what it is.
Never know. A whale might donate. What is it?
I'm honestly like, I'm hoping that one day, like, you know, maybe there's an insane giveaway and I get it, or maybe like I'll get a really good mint of something and I'll trade it off, you know.
I like that. Yeah, no, I feel I'm the same. Actually, a while ago, I tried to trade the Ghost Trap 55 for a Rizzo.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, because they were around about the same price at the time. They were both sitting at about, well, my Ghost Trap undercutting it would have been about 3.3K, and Rizzo was about 3.2. So I was thinking I could maybe get one, but no one ever budged really.
I have like a decently cool mint Todd that I would hope that sells for like double the Todd floor, and if that sold, maybe I'd get it, but who knows? I got a on marketplace, primary marketplace. I got a 4001 mint Todd, and I know some people collect like the even numbers plus one.
Yeah,
you know, like instead of saying 4,000, which 4,000 I think would have been cooler, but like 4,000 plus one, 5,001, 6,001. Like there's some collectors out there for that. So I don't know. Hopefully I can get that above floor one day, but
yeah,
we'll see.
For sure.
So we got the last two. The comic point series. The comic series points have. Oh, I didn't realize this. I thought I read the whole thing. The comic series points have been removed from the points table as the comic daily bonus have now been increased.
Oh, so that's what we talked about. I hadn't read all this. I'd only skimmed through it because I knew we were talking about it. So that's it. That's removed. You're no longer going to get the 5 extra points for completing all the commons of a series. That puts my video way out the window.
Everybody go dislike. False information.
So that's brutal. Oh man, that's a little bit of a heavy hitter, but I understand why they're doing it. I think they didn't want people to solely focus on getting those extra points for the commons. I think they did want to maybe spread it out a little bit wider. So now you're collecting the full series rather than all the commons. I don't really know how it's going to work. As we said, we don't really know how people are going to react to this, if the whole market really cares so much about the MCP, or if it's more so just what they enjoy. So what were you thinking on this front?
I'm a little bummed. One of my incentives to keep my comics that I don't really care about is that to keep them for the series and the extra points.
Mm-hmm.
Like literally, like, I mean, even today, like I know the value of this comic, but like I got a common. And I was like, well, you know what? I'll keep it for the series because even though I know this is a valuable comic, I'm not really too concerned about, this going up in value by 40 gems or something like that. So I feel like it decentivizes me to hold the ones I don't care as much for a little bit. I don't know. I don't have like strong opinion for it. I didn't make a video on it or anything.
Yeah, I'm kind of gutted. I was like really looking forward to getting those bonus points. So
Yeah.
damn it.
Yeah, I know.
Oh well, I'm still gonna try and collect one of every comic of the common that's ever released on Veve. But I mean, it doesn't change my plans too much. At the end of the day, as we said, they don't need to make the currency. They don't need to make the MCP points. So this is just an add-on.
Yeah.
And I'm sure they're going to be looking at it again and seeing if there's maybe something they can do with the series. But yeah, for now, I'm okay with it.
Now, okay, so it says they removed the points table as Comic Daily. Okay, so yeah, I I don't know that I do see a little bit more with Cvers coming from, even though like I stated my disagreements earlier, because now the commons are worth less points. The secret rares obviously did go up, and they took away the point series, which would have been more commons, basically. So like I can kind of see where he's coming from.
Yeah, I can get that, and I'll take some of my points back as well. That's for sure, because I hadn't read this part. So I do hope that they maybe look at this again, even if they put it less, even if they put it less points that you get for having the series. I think that could be good. It doesn't have to be 5. It could be 2 or 3 bonus points for having all in the series. As I still think that's quite a cool thing to have. I have all the Amazing Spider-Man comics with the commons, and you continue to get them as it goes up, because you don't get the bonus points if they add a new Amazing Spider-Man and you don't buy it. So you lose that bonus. And they're going to be adding more Amazing Spider-Man. They're going to be adding more Fantastic Four and all that sort of stuff. So I think they could maybe look at this again, add 2 or 3 points as a bonus, and that would work well.
I agree. Somebody said that all the common prices are already dropping fast. Yeah, so I mean, yeah.
I'm actually going to go and look at the Amazing Spider-Man. I think it was at 46, if I'm not mistaken, beforehand. For the first Amazing Spider-Man with the common before this all happened. So let me see what it's sitting at now.
I mean, I agree. Like, without looking at prices and without being on Twitter, literally just talking to you about this, my first thing that crossed my head was, if there was any negative take on this article, it would be the common comics.
Yeah.
Because they got reduced by a fourth. I mean, by 3/4, I guess, because they were worth 1 point a day, right?
Yes, they were. They were 1 point a day for what they were.
And now they're saying that, the set series isn't a thing, because that was another reason to hold common comics. So I can see commons taking a hit from this. Granted, this could also be a good buying the fear opportunity.
It definitely could, by the way.
If Marvel #1 drops to like 60 gems or 50 gems, because again, at the end of the day, this is an add-on. That doesn't mean that Marvel #1 in the future isn't going to be like treasured.
See, the thing is, now I'm looking, they haven't moved. Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 1 is 55, and Marvel's still 90.
Okay. So maybe it just
doesn't seem, maybe there's just the ones that don't really matter as much, the ones you were saying, that you're not too bothered about them. Maybe they've completely floored. But it seems like the good ones are holding up for the time being anyway.
So basically the blue chip comics are holding.
Yeah,
but maybe
because I'd have bought so many of them.
But maybe we'll see some unstable floors on the not as blue chip comics.
I hope we see a dip in some of them, because my thought is maybe people will let go of ones that are actually physically valuable. Might be able to get some of them in a deal. I think we all know kind of by now, or most people know, that Fantastic Four, Amazing Spider-Man, and Marvel's 1 are all extremely valuable in terms of the physical copies with high grades. So I think we've got to a point now that they've been out for so long, people well know their inherent value anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I almost bought some more Fantastic Four during the gem squeeze as well, but I ended up not doing it. Kind of wish I would have, but
yeah, I kind of wish I'd had as well. Actually, I bought on it was a while ago. Comics were really, really low at the time, and I decided to, because X-Men, that was their first ever appearance ever. I bought 60. I
Oh
bought
wow.
60 at 10 gems. And there was a time actually where I sold like 15 of them for 25 gems. There was a time where they shot up, but they are back down at the moment. To be honest with you, though, I'm not bothered whatsoever. I'm holding them for a while because first ever appearance of X-Men, and in that comic itself, there's so many first appearances of different characters that
Mhm.
I just see it. I do see it being somewhat valuable. It doesn't have to be 100 gems, but more valuable than I bought it for
Are you an
back
X-Men
then.
fan?
Not really. You
Oh,
know,
okay. You just yeah, just
not
did
a
it for
massive X
the
fan.
business.
Yeah,
I was
just
wondering what your thoughts were on Storm tomorrow.
oh, I'm really excited for Storm though.
Yeah.
I think people were maybe over expecting a market drop when something new was announced like this. X-Men doesn't really hold the same as Marvel and Disney. So I didn't really expect any market interruption, which I don't think we've really seen when it
Well,
got
it's a
announced.
blind
But
box format that's only
yeah,
$50. So I was expecting fluctuation because Spider-Man, what's his name? Captain America and others have had those really high secret rare cost.
yeah,
So even if it is just X-Men, even though like X-Men is not far behind those brands, I still thought if it was a 300 to 400 gem secret rare that people would be selling trying to get that secret rare, because at the end of the day,
yes,
no matter what it is, they know that they can do a good flip on that.
definitely,
But they released it as a blind box, which is contrary to the rest of the collectibles that they've been releasing. I thought was interesting. I'm wondering if they did that to try to deter bots and try to make it fair from bots accumulating the secret rare.
maybe.
But regardless of their reasoning, I think that's the reason we didn't see a market fluctuation, because like most people can afford a $50 blind box.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't actually realize they were going to be blind boxes. So now it probably backs up my point that the market doesn't need to do anything drastic because it's a blind box. But I'm seeing here like it's decent edition sizes.
1200 for secret rare, I think. I haven't looked at the other ones.
1500 for secret rare here
Oh,
for
15. Okay.
tomorrow, and 3650 for the ultra rare. So I'm actually in London tomorrow. I'm in London for Twitch London to go and meet some people. So I'm hopefully going to be able to get it on 4G
Yeah.
since I won't be able to hear.
I don't love that it's on a Saturday because I'm in the same boat. Like I have stuff to do.
Yeah.
But like I also really not only do I want to go for it, like if secondary market prices are, there, I'd like to scoop it up on secondary as well.
One of the things I'm actually going to be paying quite a bit of attention to is like the uncommon and the rares floor, because although they might not be that high in the beginning, I think they can rise quite heavily. It's happened with the Spider-Man right now. Obviously, that wasn't in a blind box format, but 3,600 for the ultra rare, 6,500 for the rare. That's not that much, and I think that could be well over 50. Maybe in the beginning, people are going to panic because they're blind boxes. Again, a lot of people undercut each other as they get it in a blind box. As you said, it's not choosing which one I want. I think a lot of the regular people will flip these very quickly, and I think the price will drop quite quickly, and you'll be able to snag up some good deals if you're quick on it.
Yeah, I mean, for people that don't care about the app and that download it and they spend $50 and they're able to flip that to 500, like that's a good flip, like for them.
Big time.
But if the secret rare is worth 1-2K very soon, and people know that, then it is worth the buy on the secondary market as well.
Yeah.
I don't know what the prices are going to be tomorrow. I'm literally just throwing these out there, but you see what I'm saying? Like it's a lot easier for either bots or like regular people to buy a blind box and flip it for relatively cheap and try to undercut each other because they really want to sell it quickly and now, because they want those gems to maybe convert into cash or whatever, like on third party. So I can see the prices kind of, like you said, like tanking at first, which would be a good buying opportunity for those who believe in it. I mean, I really need to do more research on like the fan base of X-Men and specifically Storm before. But to me, like it's going to be behind, Disney and Marvel. But how far behind? Because like this, I mean,
Yeah.
Storm does. I mean, I know X-Men does have a big fan base, and I mean, let's be honest. Like the animations look pretty sweet, like the lightning and stuff like that. Like I thought looked really cool.
That is
So
cool.
I don't know. Like again, I'm gonna look up the fan bases. I don't want to say too much on live right now, but like I think it's gonna be slept on.
Yeah, no, I think it is. I'm trying to see the box office history of X-Men, and it is good, as you'd mentioned. You know, it is lower than the likes of Spider-Man, Batman, Superman, and none of the films that they've ever made has ever reached billion in the box office. But Deadpool actually has been closest to their highest. That and X-Men Days of Future Past at 747 million. So it definitely is popular. It definitely has a good fan base behind it. I'm personally probably going to try and buy an ultra rare on the secondary market about 10-15 minutes after the drop happens.
Same.
Once the market opens, because I think that's most likely the one that's going to dip to a point where you're going to get a good enough deal that it will rise quite heavily.
Where do you think that Elsa money is going?
Genius. I like it. I do like it. That's smart. I might actually look at my own duplicates for the Disney and see if I can sell one to have the gems for tomorrow.
I could say that because we only got like 12 people in here right now. I don't know how many people are going to go back and watch later.
So yeah, no, we can definitely look at that for tomorrow as a good pickup for sure.
So we got one more. All right. It's they might as well just said whale cap. Point limitations. Point limitations have been included in the MCP overview, which outlines measures to prevent the point system from being gamed.
Point limitations have been included in the MCP overview.
So basically, I think that there's going to be a set off amount of points. So let's say like, I don't know, like you can't get over 1,000 points probably at a time.
Oh, right. Okay. Point limitation have been included in the MCP overview, which outlines measures to.
So this will be cool if I'm thinking about this correctly. Say you're going up against a whale for a drop. Well, maybe that whale got, say, 1,000 points to cap. Maybe the whale got that in a couple of days, and it took you a couple of weeks. But either way, it's your 1,000 against their 1,000 instead of the whale having 10,000 and you having 1,000.
Yeah.
Am I thinking about that fairly?
I think so. I think
to me, that's really cool. Unless the cap is like absolutely insane, you know, to where like it's going to take a year to get. But if the cap is like pretty fair, I think that's a great thing for the average user.
That could be actually a really, really good thing to have. And it could also mean as well that point limitation will be included in the MCP overview, which outlines measures to prevent. Maybe when you're buying and selling stuff, you know, there's only a certain max that you can get to. I know they'd mentioned in the other article, like the one that they've still made for this, but not the changes one, that you can't like sell one in the set and then buy again to complete the set and get those points. So if you got like bonus points of 5 points for completing a set, you can't sell one of them from the set and then buy it back again to get another 5 points. If that makes sense.
Oh, is that what you think it is? That what it's referring to?
Not, but I quite like your one.
Okay, you're probably right. I didn't even like look at it from that perspective.
I think both are good though. I do like that. Obviously, they're thinking about how to not game the system, and I kind of would like to see a maximum, because if you're getting 90% of it back, whales can just continue to get the top. See how they said the top percent are going to get automatically whitelisted?
Yeah.
Then I hope that there is a maximum, because if whales get 90% of them back, say a whale had 1,000,000 points and you had 10,000, you're never going to win that top percent if they keep getting 90% back. Oh, wait, actually, but if they win it, they lose them all.
Yes.
Completely disregard what I've just said.
I mean, there's still credibility to what you're saying, though, because like whales will be able to replenish points rather quickly. So like even if they lose them all and we only lose 10%, they'll catch up fairly quickly.
Yeah.
So, but I there's credibility. I think you're right on this, because they specifically said to prevent the point system from being gamed. With that being said, I wish I was right, because like right. I think that'd be really cool to have a point cap. And some people would hate that because they would argue that they're being limited, and they've, you know, people like to farm. So like, you know, I'm kind of one of those people, like I would love 6 months to have an insane amount of points. But at the same time, like if it was 1,000 cap or whatever you know, however many it was, and when you couldn't get over that, you would be incentivized to not only use it, but your 1,000 points would be just as equal to that rich person's 1,000 points.
Yes, exactly.
So like to me, that would be really cool.
No, I'm with you on that. And also, as you'd mentioned, you know, you have to spend them in 6 months. So it's a 6 month max. And then they disappear. So I would be okay with that. And see, even if you got to that maximum and you were never able to get more for a certain time period, I'm more than happy to not get any more points and wait on a drop that I really want to spend all those points. You know, so I'm not too bothered that I couldn't get over that if I'm waiting for a drop that I know I'm really going to want and put all my points into it and then just start building up again.
Absolutely. It'd make you spend your points more often too. I don't know. I think it'd be cool.
Yeah, no, I like it.
Yeah, anyway. All right. Well, we covered that, and it's been an hour and 20 minutes already. That's crazy.
That's insane.
You know, in respect for your time, we can conclude soon. I guess we can kind of talk about two things real quick.
Yeah.
One, just your overall thoughts on it, and two, chat. If you guys have any questions you'd like us to go over before we conclude, feel free to go ahead and type them out now.
I think it was a great iteration. As they'd mentioned, you know, they didn't want people to make rash decisions. They were going to update it, and they've also put, as you said, version 0.2. So it's not version 1 and not version 2, meaning they're going to continuously work on this. I reckon there'll be another update again. People will give their thoughts on this run. I'm definitely going to be giving my thoughts in regards to the collectible low mint bonus with the sub 150 and sub 300, maybe changing that a little bit, and also with the serious bonus, with having maybe like 2 points for a serious bonus. I think that's a good thing to have. It just incentivizes people to collect all the comics, you know, even if it's the common ones. I think that would be a good addition. But yeah, overall, I really like this iteration, and I'm looking forward to seeing another one. What about yourself?
Yeah, I love it. Honestly, I think the whole thing's great. If I had any sort of criticism over it, and this is how it was the first edition too, like I really wasn't, you know, I didn't care that much. Like I thought it was good. A lot of people hated it. But if I had any revision for it, it would be maybe something for the common comics. Because again, like I try to think about the whole market as the way I think. And like if I'm getting these common comics that like aren't blue chips, my only incentive to hold them right now is really, other than like the, you know, having all of the comics, because I mean there's a cool aspect to that. But like my only incentive to hold them is that I can get the series, and then the series gives me more points.
Yeah.
Well, they took that away, and they took away the amount of points that I get for that one comment. So instead of getting 1 plus whatever points I get for the series on that comment, I now get 0.25.
Yeah.
That means it takes me 4 days to get what I thought I was getting. On top of that, I'm not getting the bonus. So I do think, you know, maybe some revision for that, but you know, I mean, at the end of the day, I guess commons are on the cheaper end, and they don't have to reward them as highly, and maybe they were being rewarded too much in the past. And I also like, I'm not tripping over it. Like I'm more on the, I do like comics. I have a lot, but I'm more on the collectible side of things than I am comics anyways.
Yeah.
So is what it is.
It's something to look at. And as I said, you know, it's not the final draft. I think they will maybe change it. I think they'll maybe add something in. And if, as we as a community speak about it, they have listened to a lot of what people have spoken about in the past. I'm sure they're not going to stop anytime soon to make this as best as they possibly can.
Yeah. Somebody said, that's why you collect what you love and forget about it.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Best thing to do. Always.
I've been wanting to complete the Adventure Time set so bad, but it's like every time I go to pull the trigger, it's like a new drop or a new flip opportunity. So I haven't. But like going to that collecting what you love, like I'm not like an insane Adventure Time fan, but like I do really like Adventure Time, and for whatever reason, it's one of those sets I've like really desired. And I guess Lady Rainicorn's like a freaking blue chip in this, because like she barely dropped during the gem squeeze. I mean, she went from like I think 800 to like maybe like mid 600s. I was like, dropped a little bit, but for the most part, like not really what I wanted to spend at the time.
I remember seeing Rainicorn at 300 back in the day. For a long while, you know, she didn't move much at all. Same as Marcelin. Marcelin was at 600, I believe, and rarely moved. Which is why I was very surprised that when I finished Powerpuff Girls Series 1 yesterday, Mayor of Townsville, I got a 423 mint for like 615 gems.
Probably over 1,000 now, huh?
I'm not actually sure what he's at, but I genuinely don't think he's moved that much. Which is crazy because there's only 1750 editions of them. And within that series alone, you have Buttercup and Blossom. I know you don't have Bubbles, but season 1 of that, to be able to complete the full 3 Powerpuff Girls, you know, you're going to have to get both of those. And I don't think there'll be that many of them in a year or so. I think they'll be very, very low in comparison to what people are expecting right now.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good set to have. Congratulations on
I'm so happy to get that one, honestly.
Someone said Fantastic Four number 1 went from 45 to 50 pre-announcement. Now the floor is to 35. Oh. Still a great comic book.
My MCP video didn't age well at all.
That's funny.
Gonna need to make another one now.
I'm gonna go dislike right now.
Class. I'm gonna dislike my own video at this point. I'll need to make another one because I don't even know what the best strategy is. I've been trying to think of what the best one is, but it honestly seems like the collecting the full just collectible series is the way to go. But the price difference for collecting, like the comparison I made in the video was, if you get all of the Spider-Man comics, the common ones, you were paying 84 gems. But if you're getting Harley Quinn season 2 that was recently dropped, you're paying 899 for the full set. So even if you are getting a little bit more of a bonus with them, you're still not going to get that many points by paying near enough 900 gems. It's probably more than that now, or maybe a little bit less. I don't know how they changed after this Disney stuff, but it'll be interesting to see now.
It would be interesting to see. Man, like, my final thought on like kind of a random point is that getting 1 secret rare now is almost equivalent to having a set. You get 5 points for having a secret rare. And you know, for a set, you would get, how much do you get 1 point per collectible? I don't remember.
I don't know if they've changed that now. The original was 1 point per collectible, but I don't know.
Okay, so like let's say the set has 3 or 4. You get 3 or 4 points, plus if you have the entire set, you get like, you know, +1. So you still get where's that? So if you had a 4 collectible set and you completed the set, you would get the same amount of points as you would for 1 secret rare.
Wow. Yeah,
so
you do. I'll get.
I don't think that this necessarily should inflate secret rare prices, but I think it will. Matter of fact, before our stream, I almost bought a secret rare on the off chance that it did. But I simply didn't have time and to take that risk versus reward.
Yeah, so
I can tell you right now, I have a
show me what the price, if there's a price difference now.
Yeah.
You still get a point for each collectible owned. Because I can see that in the main one, not just the iteration one. But when it comes to the comics, daily comics are based on rarity, for example, 0.25 for a common. Yeah, so you don't get 1 per comic now. You'd have to get 2 uncommon or 4 common for the 1 point per day. Oh, actually, no, you won't, because it's duplicate as well. So you're not going to get it.
My Ultraman 1 2D, the price went up a couple hundred, but not over the announcement. But for whatever reason, over like the last day or two, that's the one I check because that's the one I have.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see what else I check often. The Labbit maybe. Labbit went down. It looks like secret rares haven't been impacted by this, but also, I mean, this article's only been out for a couple hours.
Yeah, maybe till tomorrow, I would say, is when you're maybe going to see the real changes, if there are any. Especially after Storm drops.
I wonder if Golden Dragon Girl didn't really move.
It will actually be. It seems now then that these blind box drops, where it's the 1 of 5, if you manage to pull a secret rare, it's really, really good to complete the set.
Yeah.
It's well worth your time. And because you don't actually have to choose which one you're going for, you've got more of a chance probably for getting the secret rare. I'm not actually sure in the chances of that. That'd be interesting to know the data behind the percentage chances of getting a secret rare if it was just a normal collectible compared to a blind box. But definitely if you manage to get a secret rare and you have the gems, go for the set.
Man, I couldn't agree with you more. And that's what I try to do, like complete the sets that already had the secret rares and the ultra rares, you know, so I don't have to spend all that money. But like, so let's say, what's the max amount? And we don't spend a lot of time on this. The max amount of points you could get for a set now. So like, you got low mint, which is 0.5. Oh wait, where is it? Low mint, I guess it's 0.5. Yeah, and you can get up to 5 points for set points. So you get 5.5 for having a set with a low mint and then with a secret rare. So you get around 10.5 points per 5 collectible set. Okay. And you can get more points if you have more collectibles in that set. But let's say you have a 5 collectible set. So yeah, is that right? You can get around 10 and a half points.
So you get 5 per one that you have. You get 5. We'll take Storm tomorrow. So you get 5 originally for just having all of them. And then with the rarity bonus with the rare, ultra rare, and secret rare, you're going to get 5.75 as the rarity bonus. So that's at 10.75 you're going to be getting. And then because it's a 5 collectible set, you're going to be getting 5. So that's 15.75 you're going to be getting. And if you have any low additions, then it's adding 0.5 for a sub 300. So let's just say you have one of those. So you're getting like what, 16.25.
Okay. I didn't factor in all of those. I forgot that. So collectible rarity matters too, right? I haven't looked at the actual MCP in a while. Okay, I didn't factor that in. And I also didn't factor in that all of them could be low mints, but that's a lot of points. I mean, I don't know like the relatives, but I mean,
if we're looking at that compared to comics now, if you manage to pull a secret rare, complete the set if you're wanting to get involved in the MCP, because getting 5 points, man, for a secret rare, that's a good bonus.
That's huge. That's absolutely huge. Like that. People are sleeping on that.
They are.
I say that, they probably don't even know about it yet.
No, most people won't. I reckon by after the marketplace opens tomorrow is when we'll see maybe some of the changes, the truest changes that we'll see. But then again, knowing Veve, they will announce something tomorrow that will absolutely do something crazy. And
also, I mean, it is important to note. Somebody said this in chat earlier. Like this also isn't final draft. You know, like I literally think they're trying to be funny by saying 0.2 or revision notes 0.1. So like we don't have the official. So like obviously, like I don't think rash decisions should be made, but very good update in my opinion, and I hope a lot of it sticks.
Yeah, so I really like it. It's a good change, and as I said, it's not the final iteration. I reckon there'll be 1 or 2 more before it's finalized, but I'm really happy with it.
All right, let's get to your socials. Got Andrew Ellis, Andy on Twitter. I'll link it down below. You have your link tree here. That's probably going to get everything else. Crypto channel, Monday. What is Monday Mindset Club?
That's my email list.
Okay, gotcha.
On the side of doing this stuff, I am working towards becoming a habit building coach.
That's awesome. Awesome.
So yeah.
Instagram, Patreon. I did not know you had a Patreon. Shout out to your Patreon. You want to talk about that any?
It's getting updated at the moment. I'm going to be working on things to make it towards crypto and my other business as well. So it's definitely going to get an update in the future.
That's cool, man. Do you know? Have you heard? I guess shout out to my Patreon too. Have you heard about mine? It's different.
I didn't actually. It's interesting. Let me know some of the things you're doing, because I'd love to.
Well, this one's different. This one's something that you probably. I think it's interesting. My highest tier is 20, but I'm a coffee roaster by trade. Right. So I actually roast a bag of coffee and send it to all my top tier patrons.
Wow, that's cool.
So like it's really cool. I'm actually right now in the process of getting a new space and a bigger roaster, so where I can roast like 10 pounds of coffee at a time. I order my coffee all around the world, and I actually have connections in other countries, like with not directly with the farms, but I'm trying to build with farms. That's what I do for like a living. My biggest Patreon membership, I actually ship coffee to my patrons. So I think it's a lot of fun because like I'm able to give them like a physical value for believing in me and supporting me. And I would say if it ever gets out of hand, I would, you know, change things and just grandfather people in. But with this new roaster that I'm getting, I mean, I'll be able to 10 pounds at a time is a lot of coffee to roast. And I'll also be, so yeah, I think
That's so cool.
it's
And
different.
let me ask then, is in the future your own coffee, your own brand?
Oh, I have my own brand already.
You have it
Yeah.
already? No
Yeah,
way.
so I actually own a coffee shop, and I've been in business for coming up on 6 years.
Wow.
And I've been selling coffee for maybe like 2 years, but I decided that I wanted to upscale and combine YouTube and everything with coffee as well. So yeah, now I'm actually going to be branching out to that and getting wholesale accounts. I roast coffee for a local brewery, and they make like a coffee stout. I'm going to be roasting for like local restaurants and stuff like that.
Mate, that's so cool.
Yeah, man, it's a lot of fun, and
Awesome.
I'm excited because like I am good at it. Like at
I
roasting
love that.
coffee, like I'm not just like trying to like bum people. Like,
Yeah.
you know, my subscription's the same as you would get from a lot of other coffee subscriptions, like as far as cost wise, and plus all the like other content.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
fun
Mate,
stuff.
that's so cool. I love that. Love it.
Andy just hits. I am subscribed to you, by the way. When I hit this link,
Oh no,
it's showing from a
that's the
different
other one
perspective.
anyway. That's
Oh,
the
I was about to say, like, I know I'm subscribed to you. I don't know why it
that's
says
the
that.
old channel.
Okay, let me. I mean, you can definitely shout out that channel too, but I'm gonna find your actual your crypto channel.
Okay,
So
mate, bye.
1.5, which is growing insane. I remember I reached out to you maybe like over Twitter. I don't know, it was DM or what. I think you only had like 600 or something. I was like, hey man, you should come on my channel sometime. And like here you are at like 1.5K right now. Like that's, I mean,
Mate, that's insane.
what's your subscriber growth right now? Like, how long
I,
ago was it until you hit 1K versus now?
I think in the last 30 days we've had over 1,000 subscribers,
That's
which is
insane.
nuts. Like,
Dude, congratulations. That's so amazing.
I honestly, like, it blew my mind when it saw that people were enjoying the content so much.
Yeah, I mean, you've been killing it, man. Your thumbnails are great. You're obviously good at explaining. You know what you do. You're passionate about it. Well, I think your Twitter says you're aggressively positive. I love that. It's something like that. So I think you're killing it at doing what you're doing. You know, when you
Thank
have
you, I really
10K
appreciate it.
subs and I'm still stuck at like 3K subs, just remember me so I can be on your channel.
Not a chance. We're all going to be there. We're all going to be there. We're all going to make it. That's the point of crypto. We're all going to make it.
Absolutely,
what we're gonna do.
man. And like I said earlier, like I think it's so encouraging to know that Veve will have so much content that there's not enough creators to create it. So like some people like jump on and it's almost like this like passive aggressive or like weird, like, oh, you're a content creator and I'm a content creator. Oh gosh. But it's like there's so much in the field and so much to talk about and different perspectives. I like the aspect of us making our own videos, even if it's on the same topic, and then later doing things like this to discuss it. Like you, I mean, little things like that talk earlier about the point limitations. I think you're right, but we had two completely different perceptions of it. And like, that's great to have on YouTube. You know, like I thought it was like a cap on how many points you could have. And then you pointed out that it's a cap on like rigging the system, like buying a collectible for the point and then selling it in that. So I don't know. That's just like one of the many ways why it's good to have like different types of content.
100%. And it's, as you said, you know, it creates great discussion. I know a lot of people don't really like Cvers with his way of going about talking about Veve, but you need people like that. You know, you need people who think differently. And the same as Foster. And you were saying you disagree with some things that Foster said. Foster's really insightful. So having those discussions and like we've had today, it just brings all of us together in a way that I don't think many communities can. And
Absolutely.
I love that. I love it.
Yeah, I love what you said about that. Like with Cvers, like we need different personalities in the space.
Yeah.
And so it's not to say that like the next, like most of the YouTubers right now and even new YouTubers, like there's some that are similar, but like the difference is like a necessity, you know, attracting those different crowds to it, having a different interpretation of it. It's all needed.
Yeah.
So I love the space and the community that we're forming. I've been saying this for a while, and I'll say it on live because I don't know if I've said it on live, but I would love to do a Millennial Minute style with Veve or Anakomi. You know, do you know what I'm talking about by Millennial Minute?
Is that the thing? explain it to me because I'll probably butcher it, but you'll probably
It's
know
just
more.
it's the little Andre Jick, Graham Stephan, Meet Kevin, and Jeremy.
Yes. Okay. I was
They've
right.
all been on finance YouTube for like, I don't know, a couple years. They're all significantly bigger than any of us. But I do think it would be cool to like start getting like consistent, like once a month, some creators come together and talk about it. And we have women at Veve, which does do that, which is amazing. Wendy's amazing. Something similar to that, but like consistency with the same channels included,
Yeah.
But food for thought for you and for
definitely.
those watching.
No, 100%. It's something we definitely got to think about, because if we're looking at Veve, being one of the top players in the decade time, then having that sort of first mover advantage and being able to help people come into this space, as I believe anyway, I've dove heavily into OpenSea in the past few months. Nothing compares to Veve. Not one single thing compares to the ease of accessibility, ease of use, and ease of understanding that Veve does. You show someone a Bored Ape Yacht Club, you show someone Batman, 99% of people are going to know what Batman is. And if we can help more people get into this and show why this will become mass adopted, I think that's a great idea.
I agree. And to take that a step further, like people will one day, or today already, but like especially in the future, will be using the Veve app, will be interacting with the Vverse, buying collectibles. They don't even have to know about the crypto side of things or the NFT side of things. And we still get value from that. OMI tokens will burn when people are buying and selling collectibles, even if they don't know what OMI is. And that, if that's not bullish, I don't know what is, especially when the large IPs give access to mass adoption. And I'm involved in other projects as well. But it just gives a little bit more access to mass adoption that I don't feel like other projects have right now. Now, with that being said, I think Veve is also going to be good for the rest of the NFT spectrum as well, because although the two seem contrary, and I'm very interested to see what Gary Vee is going to say on Dan Schabel's podcast Monday. They're not contrary. It's just going to be another introduction to what this is. There's a lot of people that Veve was their first app that they downloaded, their first NFT that they purchased, that later went on to make a MetaMask wallet connected to OpenSea or Immutable X so that they can buy their first NFT. Like, that's indisputable. So we're just adding more and more volume by Veve, and likewise, it's going to help each other out. Especially, what our original conversation was going to be on as the integration to Immutable X. But super bullish future, man.
It really is. I'm so excited for the future. It's going to be great.
Anything else you'd like to say before you head out?
Honestly, no. I think we covered a class stream, and this has been so much fun. Thank you for having me on. I really do appreciate it. It's been so much fun, and I'm looking.
It has been fun. I really enjoy just like geeking out over this stuff, because it's not like you have Niles, but like there's not a whole lot of people in person to talk to. And Twitter Spaces, I love them, but they are a little cluttered. So it's like you don't get that like one-on-one, like let's talk about this. So like I love doing these type of streams for that. You literally can't. I can't go to my shop right now and be like, "Hey, did you get the drop today?" Like nobody cares. But Andy, thank you so much for being on, guys. Andy's amazing, as you can tell. Please go subscribe to his channel. Follow him on Twitter, and when he gets his Patreon updated, check out his Patreon. So thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time.